All right, NXT. Not a bad show. Not great, but not bad. The opening with JC James and Stephanie McKeer. We didn't give a lot. It is for Vengeance Day. They are building into it for Stephanie to go up against Fallon Henley. That's what this is all about. Fallon going against a Stephanie McKeer. Now, there was interesting out in the parking lot. And I am skipping over. You know she was going to win. The match itself, I will say, wasn't too bad. Seeing that JC James did a very decent, how can I say this when it comes about JC James? I really don't talk much about her ring work because she's not bad, but there are moments you can see that she does have the ability to sell very well, but also has the ability to do some decent work in the ring. She's not the best you ever see, but she is someone that you could say, I could believe she can wrestle. That's what you get from a JC James compared to Stephanie McKeer, who does use a very strong amount of lucha libre and very rough amount of lucha libre. But at least you see JC James is willing to sell. And sell generally all right. But when you see the parking lot when Stephanie McKeer was outside, still wearing the face paint, which I think was not necessary. Sometimes I think what we forget is that we got people under all that makeup. Either it's a guy or a girl. Don't make a difference. Either face paint or makeup or both. I would have liked to see, since she got dressed again, that she took off the makeup. Or the face paint, actually. I think it would have been better that way. You can tell she's still not very good at talking English. And if she is, I don't like they're restricting her to talking very limited amount of words. But I do believe she doesn't really talk English very well. But at least she is talking it. The woman in the back that passed by her, I can't remember who she was. Wearing white with high boots. Nipples poking out. Interesting. But the question is going to be, whoever this person is she important? Now, Stacks versus Rich Holland. Now, this is stemming from what happened last week. And seeing that the Don is working wild card. He's on one of the episodes. I never really watched it. And a little snippet that showed, honestly, he could be a believable actor. Doesn't mean he'll be a great actor. Can't tell you. But could he be a believable actor that at least he doesn't botch his lines, he doesn't look stupid, he doesn't pause too much, or just looks awkward? I believe he could do it. So it wasn't bad. And seeing Stacks having a bit of an attitude with the Don, saying, oh, I'm just busting your balls. No, he isn't. It is obvious they're beginning to push Stacks, because let's make it very clear. Stacks has been with the Don for quite a long time. And it is obvious that Stacks has developed enough that they think he might be able to handle himself on his own. And I agree. Not saying he's at the same level as Trick Williams. Because I saw very early on with Trick, he was something that could be someone. Really be someone. If they finally broke him away from Carmelo Hayes and if he was willing to put in work. I said this myself, and look where he is right now. He is a main eventer in NXT. He is exactly what I knew he was going to be. I don't know if anyone else wanted to believe. A lot of people didn't, but I did. Stacks is another one. Will he be at the same level as Trick? No. But it does not mean he can't get somewhere. So when we had the match and saw that he got his ass kicked by Ridge, I'm not going to tell you that it didn't develop Stacks getting his butt kicked after that and being so frustrated, particularly when it went to the back and Ridge said, I want a damn shot at that title. And yes, Izzy Dane got involved again. And yes, you could see the little group of what do I think about Sean Spears with his team? They haven't really impressed me yet. There's got to be more that's going on. If they do not do something with him and his team, he's just an afterthought. So I really don't care. They got to do something with him. But at least you see the development for Stacks, because that's what this is about. This isn't just about Ridge continuing and trying to get a title, trying to make a name himself. This is Stacks. I believe this is the entire focus, but it's just me. Now, let me give it to you like this. What did I feel about Saruka, Zarya, and the Dollhouse Girls? That's what I call them. I still think Shotzi should leave WWE when her contract is up. Because she's nothing now. At this point, you know what she's good as? Manager. I believe Shotzi should just become a manager at this point. Because honestly, they don't want to develop her as a character. Her ring work reflects that, because she really doesn't care that much anymore. She doesn't. And I'm not saying she won't do a job, but you can tell Shotzi really... What is she doing? They stuck her in Raw. They stuck her on SmackDown. They stuck her on NXT. They barely developed her. Now they stuck her with Tatum and Gigi. And yes, she is acting decently well, but it would be better for her to be a manager at this point. Because as it stands, every time when she goes in the ring, you could tell she's not into it. And anybody says, dude, of course she's in. No, she's not. You can tell she's doing her job, but you're not seeing how enthusiastic she is. And I can understand why. I'm not saying she's the best worker. She's not. She's a good worker. She can do a promo. She can go in the ring. She has a sexy body that periodically she likes to show. But when you see the situation with Shotzi Blackheart, Vince didn't have any idea what to do with her, so he didn't really care. Now that Vince is not there, you got Triple H and anyone else that has been working with her, and they don't know what to do with her due to the fact that she has been cold for so long, next to getting hurt. The writing, nobody wants to write that well for her. And on top of that, she knows they're not going to write for her, so she's frustrated, and she doesn't really care that much. And because she doesn't care that much, even if she's got TV time, we're just getting this instead of this. It happens, guys. There's a lot of wrestlers who go through it. If you don't think it, you're wrong. I'm not saying it because I'm right all the time, because I know I'm not right all the time. But in this situation with Chelsea, she just doesn't care that much. She does want to make sure she does her job because she's on the contract. It's not like she 100% hates her job. She still wants to do it. But what do they give her? Nothing. They don't really give her much to do. And because they don't give her much to do, she's not putting in a huge effort, so that makes it worse. So throw her as a manager and let her just stay with Tatum as well as Gigi. And the match was okay between the four. It wasn't bad. But I can tell you this. What are we really going to get eventually with Saruka working with Zarya? I don't know. Next, let's get to the meat and potatoes of this. Kiana Jordan versus Carmen Petrovic. Seeing that they're really making a heel and a badass heel out of Kiana Jordan. This is a rare one. Where you would think, when in doubt, heel it out would work. In this situation, I'm not going to tell you it's not working. But I'm wondering how far they're going to let her be a loose cannon badass. Because there will be a limit of how far they're going to let her go and let people job to her. Let's make this clear. The match was fine with Petrovic. Seeing Adonis there was fine. Seeing that she used what was it? I believe she used Bob Backlund's move. I do believe she used Bob Backlund's move to win that match and do submission, which you don't normally see. So I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Then after the match was over and she was still angry due to the fact that Jada Parker came out during the match, was messing with her. And I'm like, they let her put it back on. Again, tapping out. Carmen couldn't do anything. They overturned the match. And now Carmen wins. And Kiana Jordan is just enraged at Jada Parker. because Carmen isn't the focus. It's Kiani just tired of joking around and being a nice guy. She just wants to take anyone out. Will they go that far with her? I don't know. This is going to be a big question mark. Are they really going to push her that hard to use a submission and to just beat the fuck out of everybody, no matter if they're big or small? This is going to be a big question. If it's all about doing submission and she's got to be able to get anybody into that move, that is where things are going to be very interesting. I'm not saying it's going to be a good interesting or bad interesting. It's just going to be interesting. Now, final match, A-Town Down Under. I know I'm going through everything else. I'm going to the other stuff in a minute. I want to go through the matches first. A-Town Down Under versus Femi and Trick. Now, we had the moments between the two where they were interviewed. Femi doesn't give two flips about A-Town Down Under or about Trick. This is just letting everyone know how dominant he is, that he is the dominant one in the ring. He doesn't care that Ava runs the place. He runs the ring. Fine. They did Can They Coexist? This is something you don't, well, I'm not saying you don't ordinarily see on TKO WWE TV. We still see it to a certain extent. It's just heavily watered down. In other words, it's a little bit in there sometimes. Very rarely do we actually see two guys, can they coexist heavily, because we don't normally see it. If Vince was still around, we would get it all the time. But at this point where Triple H doesn't do it often at all, or not at all, and HBK does it irregularly, because HBK is still running it, but it's obvious that Triple H is still working with him. This is one of the rare times you see a heavily situation where can they coexist between Trick and Uber Femi. That's what we got. We got a fight. Uber Femi was literally arguing with each other. And A-Town Down Under won, but not because of them not coexisting. What do we get? We get Eddie Thorpe coming out, nailing Trick in the back with that strap. Ends the match. And then you see Uber Femi walking away. But then in the ring, whooping his ass like he owed him some damn money. So now Trick Williams, already screwed over by A-Town Down Under, already having an attitude and a big problem with Uber Femi, we still get Eddie Thorpe at his side, in his side, fucking with him with a strap that sooner or later that might be used in a strap match between Eddie Thorpe and a Trick Williams. I do believe they're going to go there eventually. There's going to be a strap match between the two. If they don't, I'll be surprised. I will say the wrestling was good. Wasn't all bad wrestling. It was all pretty good wrestling. I didn't really have a problem with it. Segments in the back were interesting. Let me give it to you like this. When it came to the segment that I'm like, did they actually cheer their asses off for him? And that is Lexus King with Johnny Dirty Dango Curtis, the former Fandango. Let me give it to you like this. Do I really feel what he said during the segment, that's Lexus King, about the Heritage Cup, he getting his name, and he going and reverting back to a heel? I will say yes to a certain extent. At least until he talked about his dad, Brian Pillman. That is when it felt a little more legitimate, because what did we get? William Regal kept trying to get him to be who he was. And I kind of wish he had leaned into a little more about William saying, you know what? I didn't want to be like my dad, but I'm going to be myself. And Regal was right. I have to be myself. I kind of wish he had done that, but he did not. But then, when he did lean into his father, talking about his father was incredibly talented, but a freaking psycho that would do anything to get what he wanted. And then we got a little bit of the truth, because he never did know his dad. He was extremely young when he passed away. There was no lie about that. So he was being honest in the promo. He didn't want people to think, I'm not going to acknowledge real life. I should acknowledge, because he was raised by somebody else. So that part of the segment was legitimate, and I actually felt that was the wisest thing to put into the promo. But after he was done and saying, I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do, I'm going to be myself, pretty much going to be like his dad, Prime. When we see Brian acting like his dad, but then seeing all these sideburns, look, I can't grow something like that. Look at the hairs I got on me. I only grow it this long because it's easier to cut it off my damn face. I got like a kid's face. I cut my hair too short, I just bleed. But he got all this, all those cuts, lucky bastard. But then Fandango comes out. And, Johnny Dango Curtis from TNA, literally, everyone started cheering when the music played. And I'm not going to tell you that it wasn't a nice nostalgic feel. Knowing that I hear the Fandango music again. I always liked the Fandango music. And I always liked Johnny Curtis. I know not everyone did agree with it. And remember, when he first debuted, guess who was the one who put him over? Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho put over Johnny Curtis. Which I always felt, a lot of people always felt, that was stupid. But for me personally, I felt that was not a bad thing because Fandango was not a bad character. Especially with, what was her name? Not Dawn Marie. I can't remember. It's been so many years since I last saw her. But let's make this very clear. Seeing him back on the show was actually pretty good. I was actually very happy about it. Did he sound a little choppy? Yeah. I don't know if it was due to the fact that the material he had just had to study it really quickly and didn't get a chance to do it because remember, in TNA, they pre-tape. They tape everything. It's not like he has the moment. Now, of course, they do it here too, but maybe when he just got there, they just stuck it from here, you got to read this. And he didn't really have enough time to really memorize it because he felt a little choppy. But even with it being choppy, I do believe it. So next week we are getting a Heritage Cup match, but as Lexis King said, we're getting rid of the tournament, well not tournament, but basically round style of the Heritage Cup. It's going to be a one thing, one shot deal, no rounds, as long as he's the one who's running it. Now probably when Charlie Dempsey gets it back, he will reenact it again, counting if they're going to keep doing that. Or maybe, this could be a possibility for me personally, the Heritage Cup Championship title might be created. Because I think, even though it does have prestige, because it was started in Europe, there's a possibility they may go away from that and create an actual title stating it's the Heritage Cup Championship. Maybe they'll do that. But that's just me. Next, did I like the segment between Julia, Bayley, and Roxanne Perez? Not talking about Charlotte yet. I'll get to her in a minute. Seeing Roxanne lasted 1 hour and 7 minutes, well, almost 1 hour and 8 minutes, becoming the best out of any women's Royal Rumble competitor was actually pretty good. I do believe that she does have the potential to be good on the main roster. I truly do believe that. And seeing they gave it up that spot, and I didn't say this in my Royal Rumble review, but I do believe they did make a good decision, and put in a good position to really get over with the fans. That was good. Seeing the way she was talking with Bayley back and forth wasn't bad. I will not say that Julia sounded choppy, but I will say it would have been better if she said a little bit more than Roxanne, you ain't much. Bayley, you ain't much either. I kind of wish she did a little bit more, but it was due to the fact of one person. Let's make it clear. The reason Julia's segment was cut short was because of one person, and that is Charlotte Flair. I'm going to say this again. Do not agree that she should have won. I know what Alex said. JD agrees with me. But Alex, he's fine with what they gave us. And he said, who could they put in their place? I say this. Anyone. This is the thing. It's not just about having a great main event in WrestleMania the night 1 and night 2. It's about developing these people right now here to be the next main eventer. And it would have been better to let that happen. And I do not agree with Alex. Look, I respect him, but I flat out do not agree. She should have never won that damn position of Royal Rumble. She should never did. She shouldn't have. It should have been someone else other than Charlotte. And I say this again. Charlotte is a good wrestler that can get herself over. She is not the best of all time. She can't get other people over. She can't. No matter what anybody says, even Alex, no disrespect to him, he'll think that she can get over and make anyone over. She can't. She's not Rick. No matter what he says, anyone that is not the caliber of Bayley, Becky, Sasha, guess what? Even Asuka. It's got to be someone that is a better wrestler than her that makes it work. No matter what anyone says, she just isn't that great. She isn't. But I will tell you this. Was her segment on this show better than Raw? Yes, it was. Particularly, she wasn't wearing what she was wearing. And I don't know what it was. Either the lighting on Raw, either the makeup she was wearing. She looked totally off. There was something wrong with her. She looked like she was something wrong. Look, I don't look great. I'm not a great looking guy. Look, my teeth are all messed up. And I don't have great lighting here. But at least I don't try to hide it. And I don't try to believe I'm better than I am. I'm not. But when you see Charlotte and the way she brings her persona, she thinks she's the hottest shit. But then you could see there's something wrong. Either her clothes were off. Either the promo itself was off. Either the lighting was off. Something was off. And it wasn't because the people were booing her either. But I'll say here, the lighting was a bit better. I don't know if maybe she eased up on the makeup, but I truly believe it was what she was wearing. That puffy jacket and whatever type of skirt she was wearing on Monday sucked. So here she was wearing something kind of not polka dotish, but it was white and black, and she looked better. And that did help the segment. Did she say anything great? No, it wasn't that bad. She's basically hyping up. She might be going for her, Julia. And if it's either Bayley or if it's Roxanne, she don't give a damn. I'm coming for that. That's mine. That at least was what she said. Basically, I'm not going word for word. But I will say this. Do I believe that Charlotte should be in a position? No. Does she deserve it? No. She does not. If you're going to say someone deserves it more than Charlotte, it should have been Alexa Bliss, because she had the biggest reaction of anyone during the Royal Rumble. Way bigger than Charlotte. Way bigger than Jordynne Grace. And understand, Jordan's my girl. No matter where she is, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, TNA, AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, I don't care. I love Jordynne Grace. I just do. Big Mama Pump is always going to be Big Mama Pump. But if you looked fairly and objectively, who was the most over? It was Alexa. Even with my Gump report, I said there was a possibility she could still come in because that could be fake. But she was the most over. And if you're going to say anyone should win, it should be Alexa. She should have won. But this, I just don't agree. Now, what can I say about this entire show? Was it bad? No. Do I agree with everything? Not everything. Look, there was some segments in the back. Yes, you got the segment when it came to Biggs with his new partner. I don't remember the guy's name yet. Since I haven't seen him wrestle enough, I don't remember the Japanese wrestler's name. I know you're going to leave me the name of the guy. You don't need to tell me his accolades. I don't want to know. It counts on what NXT builds him as. I don't want to hear, oh, he's been doing this in New Japan. I don't care about him doing it in New Japan. Or Pro Wrestling. Actually, not New Japan. Pro Wrestling Noah. I do know he was in Pro Wrestling Noah. I don't care about what he did in Pro Wrestling Noah. Means nothing. I'm going to say it right now. Whatever any Japanese or European wrestler did anywhere means absolutely nothing. It counts on what the company is going to build now. They got to give me a reason to care. I don't give a damn about what he did before. I care about what they do with him now. And being with Briggs is not bad. They both have similar personalities. What did they do when they were talking to Ava? Guess what? They both tried to get a tag team to go against them, so they're going against, well, they both went off on their own to try and get tag teams to face them so they can go up against Axiom and Frazier. Both of them got it, and now there's going to be a match between them and the other two teams to see who will be number one contender. Do I believe that was all right? It's fine, but I don't know if this team is going to be great yet. So for me, until I get more time to see them and get used to them, I don't know. And I know you're going to say, what about the end of the show when we saw 4 guys? It looks like 2 guys are from Out the Mud, and I just don't know about the other 2 guys. One of them looks like it might be, could be, I don't think so, because I don't think Scripps is back. I don't think so, even though he does have braids. I don't think it's Scripps, but it's somebody. I don't know who. But whoever they are, they tried to make them mysterious right after they did the Judgment Day cutoff. So it wasn't a bad show, but it's just me. Peace.